All right, welcome everyone. My name is Joey. I'm with Switchboard Live. This is our bi-weekly webinar series we got going on here. We're going to have Jasper from the Atlanta Council, one of our power users, on today. But first, before we get him on, I'm going to kind of go over a couple things to expect from Switchboard here. Hope everyone can hear me all right. But first things that comes to mind is the Twitter destination. So you might have gotten an email from Switchboard saying that Periscope API is officially going away, and Jasper's going to talk a little bit more about this. But we have a direct API with Twitter, so Periscope is going to be no longer working past this Friday. So just make sure to reauthorize your Twitter destinations within your Switchboard account. And also, if you have any questions about your particular workflow or your Switchboard account, need any help with anything, feel free to contact us. More than happy to set up a one-on-one meeting with you. But yeah, that's all I got for some housekeeping stuff. But I'm going to get Jasper on right now. He's going to share some tips and tricks here on how the Atlanta Council likes to stream.
Thanks so much for having me, Joey.
No problem. How are you today, Jasper?
Doing well. You know, running events like crazy over here. So I'm really excited to be on, though.
Awesome. Yeah, well, great to have you. So first things first, can you kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself, the Atlanta Council, kind of tell us why the Atlanta Council performs streams, cut the content, how often you guys stream, all that fun stuff.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an assistant director with the engagement team here at the Atlantic Council, and my role kind of straddles this gap between our communications arm of the engagement team and the events team, and really my role actually here at the council, which is a foreign policy think tank that covers a really, really wide range of issues. Everything from city heating to democracy in Ukraine. We've got 14 centers and programs that cover all those issues. And we're really known as a convening powerhouse here in DC, as an organization that brings people from all over the place together for our events and our private meetings and all sorts of things, as well as blogs and reports that we publish routinely. But yeah, my role here at the council straddles that gap, and it became really created when we all went remote, and as that convening work really had to take on a completely new format during the pandemic. We went remote kind of March of 2019. Last year we had to kind of reinvent very, very suddenly what our convening looked like. So obviously, like everybody else, we were facing virtual events and having to manage all of the technical and AV ends. Now, the really exciting thing for us then was that while we were all taking off to head home and work from our rooms and desks, we were also exploring Switchboard. We were just getting started with multi-streaming to our social media channels, our YouTube channel. And so it was kind of a serendipitous moment that allowed us to take advantage of Switchboard then. And I think that one thing that we learned early on in the pandemic, and this is aside from streaming, but about events, is that when everybody is working remotely, the question then becomes, who can you get on your platform? It became a really crucial way for us to connect with people globally, really. And of course, since everybody got used to using Zoom and platforms to have meetings, have events, it became that much easier to ask people to come on our platform. So the number of events that we hosted exploded overnight. We went from a couple hundred events in 2018 to well over 400 public events in 2019. So massive explosion of our events, and while at the same time, live streaming became that much more critical of a tool. And so my role was actually kind of formed, and a huge component of it early on was actually just managing our Switchboard account and connecting our centers not only to the platform, but also connecting our external speakers through StreamShare to Switchboard so that they could rebroadcast out on their social media channels. And for us, that became kind of a unique selling point for our events, because it was something that because of Switchboard we were able to do.
That's awesome. And you had mentioned that you guys have over, was it 30 people that have access to your Switchboard account? That's pretty special.
At first it was just me managing our Switchboard account, and I would say that April, maybe May of 2019, we were hosting, had to have been at least 15, 16 events a week. So yeah, it was
Awesome.
major. Sorry, I keep saying 2019, 2020, of course. But
It's
yeah,
almost
it was
like
a major explosion
last
in
year
the number
didn't
of
happen.
events. And we had to essentially train up a whole bunch of new staffers on how to use Switchboard because it was just too much for one person to manage and get stream share set up and all that. So yeah,
Cool.
we now have, I think, 35 staff members set up.
That's awesome. And I'm guessing you're the person that kind of runs point on that and makes sure everyone's trained up, correct?
Yeah. A big part of my workflow is actually to, ahead of each one of our events, get in touch with the staffer that I know is going to be covering streaming, make sure they're all set up, go through their templates, make sure that they're looking good, they're reading like a Twitter post or a tweet or a Facebook post or whatever, and make sure all of that stuff is set up.
Awesome.
Yeah, but to speak briefly about our workflow, I mean, Switchboard really sat for us between our AV team, who provides us a stream through Wirecast, taking essentially Zoom feeds from our various speakers all over the place, using capture cards to bring them into their encoder, and then broadcast that to Switchboard, which is where we take the handoff and redistribute it on the other end. So that's been our general process. Now, that being said, as virtual clearly was not something that was going to end anytime soon. We really dug deep in terms of what we were capable of in our offices and what sort of tech we could bring in. So we've made a big swerve towards virtual convening, with an understanding that even when the pandemic is over, hopefully sometime soon, we'll be able to still provide a really, really excellent virtual or hybrid platform with people in the audience as well as people watching remotely.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And it seems like your workflow is pretty seamless. Even though some people would consider it complicated. But yeah, you have people from all over the world joining your streams, correct?
Yeah, we have a truly global audience, and we're bringing in people from all over the world, and oftentimes our events are also targeting specific audiences in East Asia. Tomorrow, really, starting about 2:00 in the morning, tomorrow morning, tonight, so to speak, we're hosting an event in Poland, actually connecting with a production company over there, and so we've actually hosted several conferences now, using Switchboard to do the distribution that has conferences that have connected people from all over the world with production companies from all over the place as well. So yeah, truly a global audience, and we're trying for a global reach.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Now, you had mentioned Stream Share a little while ago.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar with Stream Share, that is our tool that allows you to stream to your own channels, but also people that might be on your stream as well. So you're really just expanding the amount of channels that you're streaming to. Can you dive into that a little bit more and kind of explain how you use that? And I know we have a branded page that we built for the Atlanta Council. Looks pretty nice, has your company logo on it. But yeah, kind of talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all of our events, we train staffers to actually go through the process of adding their own accounts to our Switchboard workflow, so they get used to the process, going through this form that then connects you to the social media network that you want to stream to, going through the authentication process and looking for that big green check mark at the end, which verifies that people have connected properly, right? We train them on how to do that, and then we train them to engage with the speakers to get them to use Stream Share to connect our events to their social media accounts as well. So we have an instruction sheet that we send out with the links to the Stream Share interface that allows people to go through those instructions, and it walks them step by step of what they need to do, what they need to look for. And say for example, it includes special instructions for, let's say, when you're trying to stream to an institutional Facebook page, how to manage that, given the fact that people have admin access to a organizational page, and making sure that they're not authorizing their personal pages to stream, but rather their organizational pages. So we have a lot of success with it, especially with our high profile convenings. When we have a high profile guest on, we want to make sure that their organization or their social media account is connected, so that we can broadcast more broadly. But at the same time, one of the really critical things for us, especially around our conferences and sometimes too around our high-end convenings, is being able to connect custom RTMP feeds, because of course stream share is this fantastic function for people that are not used to the process of streaming. But of course, if we're working with another AV team that's accustomed to actually using RTMP feeds and routing video around their social media networks, it's really great that Switchboard actually allows us to take that RTMP feed, the URL and the code, and actually just drop it into the back end of Switchboard, and be able to provide them their own live video feed that they can then do the distribution with later. So been really critical tool, especially around our conferences when we might have big partners that want to stream as well, that are very savvy and with live streaming and very digitally capable.
Awesome. Well, and what Jasper was talking about was the custom RTMP feature we have, where it's basically, instead of connecting your Facebook page or YouTube page through just logging in through your Switchboard account, you actually have the ability to manually set up the destination by grabbing the stream key and RTMP URL from that destination and manually inputting it into Switchboard that way. Great versatile feature that allows you to connect scheduled events and even like external players that we might not natively connect with. So really, Switchboard, if a destination accepts RTMP in general, you can use it with Switchboard. So I'm glad that you brought that up there. Anything else about stream share you wanna add in? Any other tips and tricks about that you might want to share?
Really, I think the critical thing is to make sure that you have a guide that's ready to go, that you can send with the URL to the stream share interface, just so that it walks people through, because they're going to be unfamiliar with the system. And of course, there's a broader question there for a lot of users as to, like, okay, how much control am I giving up over my social media account? Mm-hmm. So we make protocols to delete old authorizations, both sure. to avoid any sort of security issues, but also to avoid mistakes. Because we have 35 staffers working on our account, it's really, really important that we keep everything really clean and ready for the next user, because some days we actually have 4 or 5 events going on. So we have a lot of different people working on the same dashboards within Switchboard.
I bet you can get crazy. But yes. Yeah, in terms of stream share, Switchboard is always looking to improve it. So in the future, we possibly look into adding a custom RTMP feature to stream share, where you can send someone the link and they can plop in their RTMP information. But anything out there, you, Jasper, anybody has any recommendations, definitely send them our way, because we're always looking to improve our product for the better. So, I mentioned at the beginning of our stream share section here that we have built a custom page for the Atlantic Council. Any Switchboard user has the ability to use stream share. However, you do have the ability to have a branded page built specifically to you that you can email directly to people, where you can easily get their channels. And Jasper, you mentioned security. Stream share is a great way to securely share channels. So if we didn't have stream share, people would have to share their social media login information with you. Not very secure way to go about things. So stream share greatly helps out with that security, especially with the high profile people that and channels that the Atlantic Council is streaming to. So.
And especially so too with the new Twitter API that came out, where we're now able to direct people to not use a private browser window, which allows them to go back to the API, right, and delete their previous authorizations, which is just another level of customization for them, which is really great.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really excited to have the new Twitter API. It's way easier than having to use Periscope. You've been bugging me about it for months.
Yeah, you must have been getting sick of my emails.
No, it's not a problem at all. But yeah, if anyone needs help with their Twitter destinations, definitely reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. And Jasper, you mentioned templates and how your staff kind of goes through, changes templates for all the streams. You kind of talk about the process with that, like how many templates you have set up at a given time, and anything.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we try and clear them out every day if we can. The old ones. We have a naming scheme for the templates, so we know which one is corresponding with which event, and then we really we train the staff to communicate 2 things really: what is the event about, and that it is an event that they're seeing on their feeds, because we want that post to communicate to the end user, our audiences, that this is a live thing. Click on it, you'll watch something cool that's going on at the council. So we generally start stream text with live event in all caps and some details about what it is, what the topic is, and especially on Twitter, we make sure to tag all of our speakers' handles or name them, which has been really critical thing to do. If we can't get somebody connected through Stream Share, because it's we're short on time before the event starts, that tagging of our speakers is actually really, really critical, because it just pings their feed and tells them, hey, there's this thing, you're a part of it, retweet it, share it, whatever. So in our templates, we're using the title field, the Facebook title field, the description, and we communicate to the staff to which bits of the template are really critical to interact with for the end user, the audience that's actually looking at the feed on their Facebook feed, right? Because of course the description field on the templates is so critical for Facebook, whereas the title field is more useful for YouTube or et cetera, et cetera. So.
Yeah, templates has definitely been a very popular feature for ours, because you can basically do everything in one place. You don't have to go to each individual destination, set up a title, description, and we just in the last few months added those different title fields, which have different character limits. Each destination, each social media site has a different character limit for their titles, so we've accounted for that. And if you are setting up templates, you'll notice that.
Exactly, and on our end, that was a really, really, really helpful thing, just because it was, it helped clarify for the staff what text was going where, really. So, great new addition.
Awesome, yeah. So next thing we want to talk about is the multiple workflows feature. And Switchboard recently rolled out our Unleashed kind of plans, where it does give everyone the ability to use multiple workflows. A workflow is basically your one encoder input going into Switchboard and sending it out to multiple destinations within that particular workflow. But we have the ability to have multiple workflows, which means you can run multiple streams at the same time. You can use workflows as a backup, and the Atlantic Council, Jasper, uses very powerfully. So if you want to talk a little bit more about that, would be great.
Sure. I mean, this gets into a couple of different things for us. I mean, first things first, we sometimes host overlapping events. And we want to be able to live stream all of them, not have to, downgrade the viewership of one to spare the other. So we really do need multiple encoders, and we actually have multiple AV managers that are able to run streaming simultaneously for events that are going on, either virtually or hybrid with people here at the offices. But yeah, for us too, it gets into not just when events are completely overlapping, but when they're butting into each other. We've actually found that the green rooms that we host before our events are a really critical way to stay engaged with our wider community, and it's a time when our staff, our speakers, can interact before an event starts. And because we want to get all of those ducks in a row on the AV end at the same time as that green room is open, even if events have a 10-15 minute gap between them, we don't have time to switch everything over on Switchboard. So it's really, really useful to have those two separate encoders, especially because it means that if the previous event ran over, we really don't have to worry about the second one having any sort of multiple streams going into the same workflow. Although for us that became kind of an interesting tool recently, when we're hosting conferences that have multiple sessions lined up one after the other, we try to send all of these out on all of our social media channels, backed up one next to the other, right? But we need two different AV managers in two different places sending a stream from two encoders. So we actually developed a little trick where the AV manager in one place ends his stream or her stream with a title card that is identical to the starting card of the next stream. So one AV manager from one location with one encoder can essentially do a little bit baton pass with the live stream to the other AV manager on the other end. So for when we are hosting a ton of panels that are backed up against each other on the schedule, that doesn't diminish our ability to run one continuous live stream or put too much strain on our AV managers either.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I was going to ask. Like, this was all one continuous stream. You weren't like starting and stopping your destinations,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the end goal
awesome.
obviously is to have a YouTube live stream up on our website to direct our audiences to, so that they can watch the whole conference through. But of course, you can't do that if you're working on the two different workflows. So this was a little workaround to make that possible.
Awesome. And you were talking about like you have multiple AV managers. Like, are they typically located in very similar places, or like, do you have any instances where like they might be located on the other side of the country, or explain a little bit more about that?
I mean, well, that's the thing. When working remotely and hosting events remotely, virtually, it doesn't really matter where they are, right? As long as their internet connection's strong, we can have them host really from wherever. So yeah, sometimes our production crew has been overseas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's multiple workflows features. One thing I push really strongly whenever I perform demos to our new clients, current clients. It's a great feature, and none of our competitors in the marketplace are currently offering that right now. It's like having multiple accounts within your Switchboard account, being able to just organize everything the way you want. And any feedback on that would be greatly appreciated from you, and also from everyone else listening in today. But Jasper, do you have any other kind of tips and tricks you want to talk about in terms of using Switchboard, streaming in general? I know you've talked about a lot of stuff today, but anything that comes to mind?
I mean, my main tip for streaming is all about getting StreamShare set up. It's such a great feature to be able to offer clients and your partners and your speakers. And if maximum viewership numbers are your goal, then broadcasting as many times as possible to as broad an audience as possible is the way to do that. And we really saw a significant boost in our numbers because of StreamShare and being able to broadcast as far and wide as possible. So it's a feature that Switchboard offers. Get it set up. It's going to pay dividends for sure.
Cool. And actually we have a question coming in from one of our viewers, and they actually have a question for you. Actually comes from Mike, one of our other users here, and said, Jasper, in what ways do you StreamShare with your audiences? Is it your presenters who are sharing to their audiences, your viewers sharing on their personal Facebook profiles? What kind of feedback do you get from StreamShare users in terms of how easy it is to find it, to opt in and use?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, it's all about our speakers and our partners. So if we have somebody coming on our platforms, coming to our events to speak, that's who we target. We want to get out to their audiences as well as ours. So it's not exclusively to our speakers. We have all of our centers accounts set up. We have our main organizational account set up, but then we want to expand to their audience as well. So it's definitely about targeting them. But in terms of setting up to audiences, no, we don't connect to audience accounts, but just to internal speakers.
Sure, that's definitely good to know. But yeah, StreamShare is it's an awesome feature, and I think that everybody should use it, because I mean, the goal with social media in general is people just want more followers. They want eyes on their content. So if you're putting your video to other people's socials, you're in turn going to get their followers to follow you. So it's
exactly.
And I know it's a little bit different for you because you're all about content. Some people more about followers, but yeah, it can be used in really any instance, and that's what we're aiming for, the versatility of everything.
And to answer the second part of his question, any fiddly bits. I mean, I think that the newest update that has eliminated Periscope from the workflow in Switchboard is definitely going to be a monumental change. The one step that was a bit tricky for users sometimes was having to open the StreamShare interface in a private browser window, which is a way to kind of circumvent the log out feature of that authentication with Periscope. Because what would happen is a user would go on to the StreamShare interface on a regular browser window, authorize their Periscope account, and then I think if they quit out of that browser window or that program completely, it would also delete the authorization. So a way to get around that was the private browser window, and it's something we directed people to do. But now with this new update that just came out a few days ago, we don't have to worry about that so much. I think one time we also did have somebody who didn't realize they just needed to scroll down on the the StreamShare window, but that was a quick fix. But otherwise, it hasn't cause us any issues.
Awesome. And what's cool about the stream share page is once someone authorizes their page via stream share that you can stream to, they can always revisit that page and take away your authorization at any point in time. So it could be after the event. If you need it for an entire year, they could do it after a year. But yeah, you as a Switchboard user and the person that you're inviting via stream share both have the ability to delete their authorization. So it's definitely a nice feature for in terms of the security of things. So, but Jasper, really appreciate you coming on with us today. You provide some great insight for us. Is there anything you want to add? Any farewell messages?
No. Thanks for having me on, Joey. I really appreciate it, and thanks for supporting us through the past couple of years. It's been really great, and
of course,
and
it's definitely been a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
No problem, Jasper. Take care. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Probably going to have another webinar here in the next couple weeks. So definitely stay tuned to our emails. But if anyone has any questions about anything they heard today or anything about their Switchboard account in general, definitely let us know. We are here to help. But thank you very much, and hope everyone has a great rest of the day.